Hello everybody, and welcome to the West Ham Way YouTube channel. Yes, of course, it is the Thursday night preview with a special guest from Before the Whistle Blows, All Leeds TV. It's Joe Wayman. Joe, come to you first, mate. How you doing?
Good, mate, good. I'm a little bit gutted that I've had to wait till Monday for football, obviously, after getting beat by Villa last week. Sometimes, you just want a game quick time so that you can turn it around and get 3 points. But I'm a little bit nervous ahead of this one, mate. I won't lie. We don't do well in London. Next three, actually, we've got some tough fixtures coming up. So, I don't know. I think Leeds need to prepare themselves for maybe a little bit of a bad run, maybe. That's where my head's at.
Yeah. We've got to come into it fully on it, haven't we, Dan? I mean, obviously, results today gone against us a little bit. Was okay last night. It's a must-win game now. Does it not feel like that?
It does, yeah. We do need to bounce back. But Leeds, to be fair, Leeds, you're very unpredictable, aren't you? In the way you can score a lot of goals, concede them, and you don't really know which Leeds are going to turn up. So it's going to be a difficult game for sure. You've got a lot of talented players, haven't you? So nothing for granted, mate. I'm not positive, not negative. I'm just going into the game level-headed and seeing what happens.
Yeah, look, it is gonna be a tough one. To be fair to Leeds, other than I watched that Villa game and Villa went for the draw, and I mean, when they got that goal early doors, you knew what was going to happen. They were very much set up for it, and I think I look at that in quite with a bit of encouragement because West Ham will think, "Hang on a minute, we get a goal from a set piece or open play, we can sit behind the ball and frustrate you." Joe, is there? I think Leeds have improved, generally speaking, in terms of trying to break down low block sides. But is there any kind of trepidation going into Monday that could happen?
Yeah, of course, mate. I think the first goal with Leeds United is always key. If Leeds United go in front 9 times out of 10, we normally go on to win the game. I mean, in the Championship under Bielsa, we hadn't. I think it was towards the end of the first season, Wigan. I think we lost once when we'd gone in front under Bielsa. Obviously, it's changed in the Premier League because it's a different ball game. You're playing, elite level players, and I think, we went in front against you guys, to be fair, and ended up losing the game, didn't we, after that early penalty. But look, the first game's so key, especially against a side like yourselves, like you've just mentioned, that can go into that low block shop and make it hard for us to break down. I think on that Villa game, the frustrating thing for me, and I've heard a few Leeds fans as well as myself pick it out, was the reliance on Rafinha. That's not what Leeds are about and have not been about under Bielsa ever. It's more about the collective. But I felt at times against Aston Villa, we just kept trying to give him the ball a little bit too often. And it was a bit like he can make something happen, just give Rafinha the ball. And he didn't have his best game. And I don't know, just as a fan, yes, he's elite for me. I think he'll go to the top of the game, whether or not that's with Leeds, we'll have to wait and see. But there just seemed to be a little bit too much of a reliance on him. There was a few times we were just trying to give him the ball, and with someone like David Moyes with West Ham, they'll certainly have a plan for him. So we can't afford to do that. And look, we're without key personnel at the minute as well. The under-23s play tomorrow, and Bielsa likes to play his first team in that, and he's come out in the press conference today. And not really give us an update on Rodrigo or Calvin, but has sort of mentioned that those that will play on Monday that are back from injury will play in the under-23s to give them a bit of match sharpness. So provided, say, we see Calvin and Rodrigo in that for 45 minutes, then you'd be thinking, right, they're going to get a game. So it'll be all eyes on that under-23s game tomorrow because like I say, we're a little bit light at the minute, missing, obviously, a couple of centre-backs. Calvin's a massive loss in any side, really. And Rodrigo has been as well, because Click's carrying a bit of a knock, has been for a long time. There's something up with his hip. He hasn't been up to it. At the minute, we can't afford for him to, I guess, go for surgery, whether or not he needs that. I'm not sure, but we're a pretty small squad, so when we do get injuries, it hits us hard. But that's how Bielsa likes it. He doesn't like a big squad. So, it's one of the things you have to accept when you have Bielsa as your manager.
Yeah, we know that pain, Dan, don't we? You're not having a big squad. I think we haven't got a lot to choose from. But one man we brought in that's different from the first fixture is Jesse Lingard. we know Leeds are going to concede a bit of space, and this is why I'm so interested to see whether Calvin comes in. Because if Calvin's not playing in that pivot role, you try Strike there, Click can't play there either. There'll be opportunities. Do you think Lingard in this game, Dan? It's a game for him to thrive in.
Massively, yeah. Because when you looked at Benrahma last time, I think he caused Leeds a few problems, didn't he, with his movement, and he's almost in a false nine occupying that position. But Leeds at the same time, Leeds have got some very good players. Obviously, the key for us is stopping Rafinha massively. I think we'll stick with a 5 at the back personally to nullify him. But as well, Joe, you've more built your success from this season, like you mentioned before about everyone chipping in, Dallas chipping in, all the other players. It's more, not solely relying on Rafinha. It's other players that can come in and do a job as well.
Yeah, 100%. Like I say, but that was the shift. You see, we've seen a bit of a shift against Villa, where it did seem to me as a fan that we were trying to give it Rafinha a little bit too much. But I do believe, we had a bit of an off day. I just on Lingard, I'm not a fan of his. I didn't really rate him.
Is it because he's not a United player? That's what it is.
Yeah, but do you know, there is that. But I was thinking about it early, Corey, when I was on my dog walk, thinking, I'm going to have to chat about Lingard. And, I didn't really rate him. And I've been really, really impressed with him going to West Ham. For me, I didn't even think he would go there. I think a lot of it for me as well was because of this big-time contract that he got that couple of seasons ago. I think he's on 100+ grand. And I just didn't think he deserved it. And when I seen that, I'm like, why are the kids getting this sort of money so early after so little, proving so little? And so I've never really liked him from that. And obviously he plays for them as well. But to be fair to him, he's coming at West Ham and he's been brilliant. And, like Dan says, Benrahma did a bit of a job on KP. I think, the narrative for Leeds fans going into that was KP and Rice. Rice easily won that battle. I have to admit that, and that was a lot due to the fact that Benrahma was keeping, Calvin busy. We use that man marking system. And I think if he isn't in, Lingard is the type of player that can easily beat someone. And then, as you know, guys, once you beat an individual in the Leeds United side, because of the style we play, you can get a bit of a free run on. And say if he goes with, I think, did he play the 4-2-3-1 against us last time? I think he might go the same, Dan, if I'm being honest, just due to the way that Leeds United play. It's going to be hard, isn't it? Bowen, 4-0s. Will Antonio play as well? So I'm a little bit concerned, if I'm honest. Again. Yeah,
I think that's the thing, isn't it, Dan? Because we played the back 5 and we played really well against Man City. I know it's tough losing and it's never a positive, but it was a much better performance than we expected. But I think because of how well that 4-2-3-1 worked last time, and I think where you see Leeds' weaknesses is particularly, because I remember the Arsenal game as well, the pressing high, and you just feel like with West Ham, with Antonio in the side, Lingard with the pressing, that's something that's going to cause them quite a fair few issues.
Hopefully, yeah. Like I said to you after the City game, mate, I was impressed with how ambitious we were. We didn't sit off them, invite the pressure and think, eventually we'll just collapse. We went, we pressed them off the ball as well. And going forward, we showed a bit of ambition, and that's been the difference. But, in terms of Monday's game, it is going to be difficult. I can't really call it, to be honest with you. But like Joe said, maybe we'll stick with that 4-2-3-1 that caused them issues last time. But we had Haller up front, didn't we? So
that's what I mean. It's a different game, mate. Like he got a lot of chances for a guy that turns very, very slowly. And Joe come on with Oscar and said, "God, he's terrible. How much do you pay for him?" It was what it was, right? He's gone now. Mickey's back in. The impressive thing, the impressive / kind of concerning thing about Mickey is, I think against Tottenham, against City, very good for 45 minutes, showing a little bit of the old form that we've seen from him. When he gets to the 60-minute mark, he starts to blow. And that could be my only concern in this game, where if it is tight and Leeds do get a goal early or something happens, the options to change it up front kind of diminish. I mean, Joe, is there... You look at Antonio, the pace, the power. Is there a concern with someone like a Llorente or a Cooper that they can deal with him? Do you think it's going to be tough, particularly with that man-marking system?
Yeah, I mean, it will be tough. Like I say, I think Haller, it was easy that day. I mean, he couldn't make the ball stick. His touch was shocking, But yeah, of course, I think Antonio offers a lot more threats, and he's been in great form this season. I think on Llorente, he did a decent job on. I think the fan base is split on him at the minute at Leeds United. But I thought he did really well against Villa. I thought he did okay against Watkins. It looked on a few occasions that Watkins had beaten him, and then he'd get back and recover. And I think he got the most ball recoveries for any player under Bielsa. I think he got 18 in total against Villa, because obviously the stats came out when people were hammering him, because I think sometimes his ball progression out from the back wasn't, great. But I think it's more due to the style in which he passes the ball. It can look a bit languid, but there was a few occasions where he set off some decent attacks. So I really rate him. I suppose I think the key thing, mate, it's going to be if KP can make it, because with Lingard in there, obviously probably Bowen, Fornells, and then you've got Ben Rama to come off the bench and stuff. I'd imagine the threats more so behind Antonio, if that makes sense. That's where I look and think, well, that's where we might struggle. But it's all, for me, it comes down to that first goal, Corey and Dan, because if Leeds can get it, then West Ham have to come out, don't they? And they have to bring the game to us a little bit. Whereas if you were to get a goal and get it early, then it's going to be tough for Leeds to break you down. I think you've been fantastic this season, I will say that, and I hope you get Europe, mate.
Yeah, look,
I do. I do, man. It's better to break that monopoly up a little bit. I'm buzzing to see other teams. That's why I like Leicester being up there as well, and they still don't get spoken about enough. It's a joke, really, to be honest.
Mate, we don't get nearly enough coverage for what we deserve, I think. I mean, kind of, a lot of fans are a bit like, prefer it that way, slip under the radar, and because I think there is the kind of thing with West Ham that if the pressure's on and it's that last, you forget it's 12 games left of the season, and we are at this stage now. We can go and, I'm not saying we can go and get the Champions League, but we have to win the games like the Leeds and the Arsenals and things like that, because if we don't, then the credentials behind it kind of diminish. Would you agree with that, Dan? I mean, generally speaking, like, we've got a tough run of fixtures. I know Leeds are no pushovers, Arsenal are no pushovers either, but we have to go and win these games, really and truthfully, if we are going to sort of stay in that top 4 position.
Yeah, no, I agree. You do have to win these games. I think I saw Jamie Redknapp or something on Sky yesterday. What you were touching on then, and they didn't even mention West. Oh no, it was Gary Neville. They didn't even mention West Ham in the top 4. They didn't even. They just said, "Oh, United and Liverpool can finish there." And what about us? But no, they are the. But to be fair, that I like to slip under the radar. I think it's good because it puts a lot of pressure on the players, doesn't it? Naturally. But no, it is a game that we should be looking to win if we're going to finish in the top 4. Personally, I don't want to be a pessimist, but I can't see it. I think we'll finish between 7th and 4th. But no, it is going to be a tough game, but hopefully we can get the job done.
Yeah, it'd be tough, and we have to keep everyone fit, don't we? I think that's the big thing. Our first team, I don't know if Joe, you agree with it, but West Ham's first team on paper is relatively decent, but you take one of those cogs out of it. We struggled without Mickey Antonio last time, and fair play to Moyes and the squad. We were still getting goals, but my concern is always Rice and Souček because of how good they are in the middle of the park. I mean, your thoughts on that might be a bit tough with the Rice thing, but your thoughts on Rice and Souček generally this season?
Been amazing, aren't they? To be fair, mate. I mean, you are where you are because of players like them. I think Souček's been a revelation, really, to be fair. And he likes to get a goal as well. So, yeah, I think, look, Moyes is building a good squad there, back to when he had that decent Everton side, do you know what I mean? Because he's took an unfair amount of stick between jobs and things haven't gone right for him, but I think he's doing all right at West Ham, and you've got some good players, mate. And Rice and Souček have been great, mate. To be fair, I did think Ben Rama would have had a lot more game time because I really, really rate Ben Rama. Yeah, he's a quality player. He's someone that I'd have liked at Leeds, both him and Watkins, to be fair. But we went a different route. But I really like Ben Rama. I'm surprised he's not getting as much game time, but he's a bit of a on. From the outsider's perspective, he's a bit of a big-time Charlie kind of character. So maybe Moyes is I don't know, you can tell me, does he do the dirty work as much as Moyes would want him to? Probably not, and that's maybe what keeps him out of the side. I don't know. It's
a tough one, isn't it, Dan? Because when he first come in, there was definitely a bit of that about him, and he was never going to relinquish Fornals. Fornals isn't as good going forward, but defensively, the shift he puts in is unreal. Exactly the same on Saturday. But I think the turning point for me was probably the Crystal Palace game in terms of the work rate off the ball. He's massively improved in that department, and he did have a couple of starts. Now he's out the side again, but I don't know. We spoke about this on Saturday, Dan, but I don't remember Ben Rama having a bad performance. I genuinely don't. He's always affecting things.
No, yeah, he's had a few quiet ones, but not necessarily bad. I think what you're saying, Jay, it's more of he was a big time Charlie at Brentford because he was their main man, wasn't he, with Watkins? And now he's coming to West Ham. He's got competition. He's not a guaranteed starter. So at the start, there was a bit of that. There was a bit of I'm the main man here. But to be fair, Moyes has instilled this work ethic in him that's really helped him, develop as a player. And it's that for me, it's like with Antonio. What I've said to you, Corey, before is that if you're a guaranteed starter, that doesn't motivate you every week to put in these performances. Do you know what I mean? So having that competition of all four now can come in, Bowen can come in, or Lingard will keep him. Do you know what I mean? Keep him going. So no, he's a talented player. I like him. He's got a lot of skill. Came on against City and he did a lot of good things, didn't he, Corey? So
yeah,
it's just I like what Moyes is doing with him in terms of he's keeping the competition healthy, saying you're not a guaranteed starter. Because and he needs to get more goals and assists as well. He hasn't.
That's the only thing in it, mate. That's the only thing he misses. Like some of the stuff he does off the ball, and to be fair to him, he has chalked up a few assists. It's just the goals, and he's such a talented player. It's like the problem is now the Aston Villa game for me was the best game I think I've seen our attacking for, because you had Ben Rama on the left, Lingard. If we get some of that against sort of Leeds, I think that will swing things because their link-up's fantastic and we can keep the ball a little bit higher up and we don't have to commit so many men forward. So, I mean, Dan, do we have to start Ben Rama in this game? I've done my predicted 11. I reckon it'll be 4 nows, personally. But, again, I can't get past the Ben Rama last time. For me, he has to be in there.
I'd keep Pablo in there.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I'd only keep Pablo in there just because I think out of the two, Ben Rama has more of an impact when he's coming off the bench if we're chasing the game. Fornals is a very hard worker, but I think Ben Rama has more of an influence in the final third. But after the last game against City, I think Fornals was one of our best players, so to drop him would be harsh. But then again, Moyes has done that in the past, and he's picked the team which he thinks can win the game, and not based off performances last time. So it'll be interesting, but it's healthy to have that competition. But I'd stick with Pablo, yeah.
Yeah, and I think probably the reason why is because of Rafinha down that right-hand side. And if we do go to a back four, that is because Creswell he's been much improved this season. When he's in a back four, he's a little bit more conservative. Naturally, he wants to get forward. His quality from set pieces as well. Joe, I don't know how you look at it from the outside. Is Creswell someone you think you can get at a little bit? My concern is if you start to play Ayling getting forward and Rafinha cutting inside, it's going to cause Creswell all kinds of issues.
Yeah, I mean, look, Rafinha can cause anyone problems. He's shown that this season. He's an exceptional talent. Like the only thing I'm gutted about is that I've not been able to see it in the flesh yet. But hopefully that'll happen soon. But yeah, he's honestly, man, he's such a baller. Like he's probably the best player that we've signed for since we were in the Premier League last time around. He's that good, And yeah, I mean, Luke Ayling, if I'm being totally honest, he had a great start to the season. Still has been Mr. Consistent, like Stuart Dallas, 7s out of 10 every game. But going forward, I don't know, the last few, I don't know, he doesn't seem to be doing it as much and linking up as well as he was doing in the early parts of the season, if I'm being totally honest. But I don't know what that's down to. It could be, something that Bielsa's. I don't know, because if anything, we have got better as the season's progressed defensively. I know on the outside it might not seem it, but we have. We'll touch on probably set pieces in a little bit as well. But yeah, I mean, look, if they're on song, we can get at most left backs. Most left backs. Costa was given a run out last time, and Rafinha was put on the left. Didn't really work for Costa, so I fully expect Rafinha to get put back on the right, Jack Harrison to start on the left, and we need a performance out of Jack Harrison as well, because he's gone off the boil a little bit, if I'm being honest. So, this happens at Leeds though, and Bielsa will just continue to play them because he likes them to play themselves into form. He's not a type of manager that'll just drop them. He's always said that, I like players to play themselves back into form, like they haven't forgot how to play overnight kind of thing. So, but yeah, in answer to your question, obviously scared of Creswell's delivery. I think he's been exceptional this season in that department. But of course, I'd back Rafinha over most fullbacks, if I'm being totally honest. He's that good.
Yeah, I get a serious Payet throwback, Dan. I don't know about you, and I see him that magic every time. And we thought we would. And to be fair, it's a bit harsh on Benny. We do kind of get that with Benny, but when he's on the ball, something's going to happen. And I thought against Southampton, he's masterful free kicks as well. He's a threat from them set pieces. I know Calvin's been on them probably throughout the season, but actually Rafinha's delivery, he's put a few straight on Liam Cooper's head, and obviously he didn't quite finish them. But again, another element to his play.
Yeah. Mate, that's what I'm saying. I think Calvin sort of getting injured, the one positive is the fact that Rafinha is now on set pieces. I fully expect him to stay on them when Calvin gets back in the side as well, if I'm being totally honest, especially corners, because like you say, his delivery has found a head. And that's an area of the game that we have improved in as well, is attacking set pieces. We've always been pretty woeful at them under Bielsa, just set pieces in general, but has improved this season. And of course, we've seen Pascal getting on the end of one against Arsenal, Cooper 3 times against Wolves. Obviously, none of them ended up in the back of the net, but he got on the end of them. And we've got Llorente now as well, who's getting game time, because obviously he started and had a few injuries, but he's got 290 minutes under his belt now. So again, that's another person we can have as an aerial threat. But yeah, Rafinha's delivery, he's just overall play, free kicks. He's exceptional, mate. So it's an area, but again, against West Ham, I mean, I don't fancy us winning any sort of set-piece battles, if I'm being totally honest.
That's literally food and drink for us, isn't it? In the air, we're very, very good. Craig Dawson, it comes into this fixture, Dan, that he obviously wasn't there for the start. Craig Dawson is such a strange one because I'm not the only person included. Someone's actually dubbed me in a video saying I was digging him out, which I was digging him out when he signed, but he's improved our defence. He's very, very good. He reads the game very, very well. Him and Diop, probably a couple of months ago, if you said Diop and Dawson are starting against Leeds, a bit shaky, Bamford's movement. But do you feel confident, Dan, in both of them obviously starting against? I know Leeds will throw them in forward if they can deal with those overloads.
Not Diop.
No.
I'm just not convinced.
Yeah.
Because I think what Bielsa might do, because he's very innovative in his tactics, isn't he? I think if Rafinha's struggling against Dawson's side, I think he'll move him over to Diop's side. I think that's what I'd look to do. And Diop, as we know, mate, he really struggles against movement. Even, who was it the other week doing a number on him?
Billy Sharp.
Billy Sharp, yeah. If he's doing a number on him, then, but yeah, Bielsa might do that. But, like you said, Dawson's had a great season. I doubted him as well. I didn't want him to come in. I said it's an awful signing. But no, he's done really well. He's just looked like a solid defender. He's got good experience. He's good in the air as well. So, we can look to cause Leeds problems in that area, I would have thought. And his passing range as well, even his distribution, diags across the pitch as well, he's really good at. So I'm confident in Dawson. Diop, not so much, but Diop the last few games. And last game, to be fair as well, he did well. So, we could kick on.
Yeah, I know what you mean. He did do all right against Spurs, and he did do all right against City, but it's tough. I worry about Bamford's movement, and I'm a big Bamford fan, generally speaking. Having watched a lot of Leeds this season, quite clearly being on the show. Do you know what actually impresses me probably more than just his movement? His work rate off the ball, his willingness to press. I mean, that is just a trademark, isn't it, Joe, of a Marcelo Bielsa side?
Yeah. I think he did an interview not too long ago, and I think the Sky picked it up. I think what does he ask from his players? He's just running and more running. I think John Joe Shelby did an interview the other week. I don't know if you've seen it on social media, where he'd been speaking to Rodrigo during the game, like saying, "Why are you running? Like, stop running!" And he says, "Oh, we have to run." So that's probably the first thing that he asks for. And if Bamford was a 30 goal a season plus striker every season, it'd be worth millions. Like, you're talking 100 million plus. He's that good. Like, his movement, his pressing, all that sort of stuff. It's just, the output. But his output this season has far exceeded all Leeds fans' expectations. I think it's funny, Corey, you mentioned about getting dug out about Dawson. You know, I did a video 2 seasons ago when we lost in the Championship playoff semi-final, said I never wanted to see Bamford in a shirt again, you know. And I get dug out for that. No, it's true, though. My friend who used to work on our channel, it did the rounds on social media saying this aged well. But at the time, that's how everyone felt. It's easy digging up something with hindsight. No one expected Bamford to have the impact he's had on the Premier League. I don't even think Bamford expected it. So it's amazing to see, mate. And, you know, Dan just mentioning there, Diop, and that's someone then just hearing that, you know, I pick up on that and think, well, Bamford might be in luck then against Dawson and Diop, because his movement is really, really good. Just needs to make sure he's got his shooting boots on, because he's a 1 in 3 kind of, you know, opportunities. He doesn't bang them all the time, but he could, you know, against Villa, Leicester, for example, he scores some worldies at times. So it all depends on which Bamford turns up. But I think the key thing that's been lacking, it's not Bamford, you know, Bamford, it's more the service into him. You know, people, even when sometimes you can think, well, what's he done? But it's more so the service into him. Do you know what I mean? Because he's full of running. He'll press always, you know. Sometimes it's difficult for him. It was against Arsenal when Xhaka kept dropping in and he's chasing basically 3 players. But it's just about getting the service to him and creating the chances, because that's where we've been lacking lately. And I'm just hopeful, mate, that Rodrigo's fit, Calvin's fit, and, you know, Calvin's much better and can pick out passes from that DM position than any other player in our squad. You know, he can hit a ball 30, 40 yards and it'll be on a sixpence, and then we're opening up defences. So it's more the creating side of it at the minute that Leeds are lacking.
I imagine if we play a 4-2-3-1, because Declan has done this sometimes in that formation where he's come into the back 3, and I think he might do that to help out Diop a little bit if Bamford's going to press. Joe, how has Bamford become an established Premier League striker? Because how do you go from people not being keen on you, and I've always, you know, when you watch him, he's always had good movement. You don't really lose that, but what's that next thing he's added to his game that's made him relatively prolific?
It's just his finishing, mate. He taking the chances. Like, I wish I could play. Like, I remember there was a time when he was getting a bit of stick on social media, you know, and you should never do that. I remember going to pre-season, the second season, and we were playing York, and he scored a goal in the warm-up, and people were jeering him. We went to Preston away. He scored a couple of goals in the warm-up, and people were like, you know, clapping him, you know, because he scored that night, and he actually went like this to the fans. So there was a bit of that, you know, and I remember I lost my shit once because he scored a tap-in against, I can't remember who it was against. It basically hit off him. It weren't even a finish. And he gave it this to the fans. And I remember going on a video saying, you have no right. You have no right to tell me to be quiet when you're the one missing fucking sitters, you know. But I don't know, mate. I genuinely don't know. I think, you know, it's his finishing, bro. Like, I don't think anyone expected him to have the impact that he'd had, you know. I think there's a real drive from him as well, you know. I remember at the start of the season, all the media outlets saying Leeds won't do anything because they don't have a striker, and he quote tweeted a few of them and said, oh, it's starting already. So he's had that drive, you know, to want to get better. I think as well there's a story where he went to Bielsa and asked him, like, how can I get better? And he gave him videos of Haaland, said, go watch this man. Go watch this man. And I'm not saying he's anywhere close to that, but he's obviously, you know, because you do see now he is hitting the ball first time. He's not overthinking it. You know, if you look at the goals against Villa, if you look at that goal against Leicester where he smashed it in the top bins, even against Wolves as well, which unfortunately was offside, which it shouldn't have been, he's getting through on goal and just smashing it with his left foot straight into the top bins. So, yeah, he's not overthinking it. I think in the Championship, it was so glaring because we created so much, Corey. You know, the XG was like Brighton's is now, you know, and we were still not winning games, and it was just so frustrating because had we have, you know, we tried to sign Shea Adams, we signed JKA, but that didn't work out. But had we have had, you know, top level Championship striker at that time, we'd have won the league by more than 10 points. But I don't know what you could put it down to. It's just amazing to see, and he could end up getting an England call up, bro, which would have been crazy. But Yeah, I hope he gets it, man. I don't think he'll go to the Euros, but I think he deserves a shot at least, getting a call up.
He's definitely up there, Dan. If something happens to Danny Ings or Calvert-Lewin, you're happy with Bamford. I don't. I think there are worse options out there. I think Bamford's that, like you spoke about that Leicester goal where he stepped over it, taking his time, and then hit it top corner. You know, international football, you need to take your chances, and it's not really Paddy Bamford's thing. But to be fair, as a fourth choice, would you take him?
Yeah, definitely. I think he's proved his worth to Southgate. I'd probably take him anyway. As an option because it's more that, like you were saying, Joe, it's more that, that fuel to the fire that, the Premier League are tweeting, Sky Sports are tweeting, oh, is Bamford good enough for the Premier League? It's more he uses that as motivation to perform. And Bielsa as well is obviously a great coach, and he's probably got a tune out of him massively this season. And it's learning them little things like watching Haaland that obviously, you learn from and makes you a better player. So yeah, I'd definitely take him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely he's knocking on that door, and you never know what happens. The next couple of months, if there's a major injury, if someone dips out of form, then he can sneak in there. I think there are worse options. I'm going to touch on this article because it'll rile Joe a little bit, but it's quite funny. Basically, someone was saying that
your man Bonnie Hammers riled me in the comments. Anyway, I need to respond to him. To be
fair, do it. Yeah, go on.
I'll tell you why that I got frustrated, and a lot of the fan base did, because he was the season ticket holders that go week on week were supporting him. It was a small contingent on social media that he was telling to be quiet. I mentioned obviously pre-season against Preston, fair enough, but when he was getting stick on social media, he scores a P-roller, and it felt personal to me. He's telling me like, shh, hang on a minute, mate. I'm supporting you week in, week out. You have no right to tell me as a fan who pays my money to be quiet when you, at that moment in time, are costing us promotion. So that's why I didn't cry. I got frustrated, rightly so, in my opinion. And Bonnie Hammer, don't tell me if you go week in, week out, you ain't getting mad at players and stuff.
I'll tell you what, it's got a bit of a vibe. I don't know about you, Dan, but you remember when Allardyce, I can't remember what game it was, he won.
I was about to say that
he shushed the fans, and it was like red rag to a ball stuff. Yeah. It was honestly, everyone went nuts.
Because players come and go. Managers come and go. It's your football club. You're allowed to say that, man. You pay money. You're invested in it. How much do we? How much? We love football. So players come and go. So don't be telling me about my club. That's just what it is. Like Dale says, I just love a run.
Yeah, managed to get Dale over it. No, back to the original part. There was an article out this week that said if West Ham got European football, that we could start to attract players away from certain clubs. Two of the names that come up from Leeds, one of them will never happen, Rafinha. The other one was Bamford. And I'm gonna call it weird one. Duncan Tarkowski were in there. But Dan, would you take Bamford at West Ham? If it ever comes to that, if West Ham got Champions League or Europa League, would you look at him? Because we do need a striker in the summer.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think he'll come West Ham, but I would take him because obviously, we've said several times that Antonio was as good as he is, and he contributes a lot. He's not getting any younger, is he? And he's not having that much of an effect on games as he used to do. He's not running as much. He scores, the goal. Obviously, he's holding it up well, but he's not got that movement that Bamford possesses. That natural striking movement, because obviously he used to be a winger, didn't he, at Forest and stuff. So having someone with natural movement like Bamford, that kind of mould would be obviously a very good addition, and something Moyes will look to bring in the summer and rectify. So, yeah, definitely an option. I don't think we'll get Rafinha, not a chance.
It's a bit of a
I don't want him to go to Liverpool either, because that'll be a waste of his career. Like when I see players linked with Liverpool, I'm like, you got Salah and Mane there. He could definitely, for me, replace one of them. But I'd rather him go to either stay at Leeds for a few more years to probably establish himself, or go to someone like I don't know, Joe, like United. Would that be a good fit or something? Do you think?
Don't say that. Do you know what it is though, Dan? I've started saying this already on the Leeds United stuff, is that there is a real possibility, and Leeds fans are telling me no, but Rafinha knows nothing of Leeds. He's not even experienced the crowd yet. Maybe we were talking about it earlier. Maybe when he gets to experience that, you've got more chance of keeping the players, because a jam-packed Ellen Road, it's a big selling point. It's a big selling point. The players are adored. Look, Rafinha came from a Champions League club, Rennes, finished top 4 in Ligue 1, got into the Champions League. He never played Champions League football because he came to Leeds United. He didn't come to Leeds United expecting them to get Champions League or European football in the first season. So he knows it's a project, you know. We've got a great chief, you know, the technical director in Victor Orta. We're linked with some great players in the summer as well. So I expect Rafinha to stay around. But he'll fully expect us to kick on next season and be challenging for Europe. And then at that stage, maybe he does move on. And I believe his best mate, or well, it's what's being said, is that him and Bruno Fernandes are like this from their time at Sporting. So it could be a realistic option, to be honest, Dan. But it would be horrible for a Leeds fan because obviously we'd then just wipe him from our whole records and say he'd never played for us. But it is what it is. I do think, though, and I mean this with all, I don't mean no disrespect to West Ham. He's when he leaves Leeds, he's going to a top 6 club, or he's going on the continent to the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona. I genuinely think he's that good. I know some people might laugh, but seeing him week in, week out, his ceiling's unbelievable. As for Bamford, I don't see him moving on. I mean, we paid 7, rising up to about 10, 11. I'm surprised. I'd fully expect that it'll have hit them triggers now we're in Premier League football, etc. But I don't see him moving on from Leeds. No, I don't see that. I mean, what would you be willing to pay for Bamford, do you think? I mean, I suppose
How old is he now as well, by the way?
Yeah, I can't tell you off the top of my head, mate. He'd be getting on, though. He's been around for ages, man, to be fair. He's been at loads of different clubs. But yeah, I think, look, the owners have come out and said they're going to emulate the Leicester model. We're bringing in players cheap. You know, it could even be the fact that in a couple of seasons, dare I say it, Calvin could move on for massive amounts of money, you know. Rafinha could move on for massive amounts of money, but it's just to ensure that we then reinvest it correctly, you know. The lads did a transfer special on ours early and they were talking about Leicester, and you think about, you know, when they bought Mahrez, Kante, no one knew who they were. Look at the money they went for. And now bringing in, you know, Justin, Fofana, you know, and these will end up going for the same amount of money that the likes of Maguire went. So that's a model we as a club, we're at that stage where, you know, realistically, we are going to be a bit of a stepping stone, I guess, much like yourselves, you know, for players to come in, get reputation in the Premier League across the world, because Premier League's watched everywhere, and then make that next move. It'd kill me if he went to them, but, you know, I do think he will move on. Not this summer, though, even though, I mean, if he continues in this vein, it'll be a horrible transfer window for Leeds United fans on outgoings, because you just know it'll be spoken about every single day. It's already started, you know. But then you see, you know, you guys have had it as well. I've seen a lad tweet out, you've got clowns at these top 6 clubs saying, oh, we'll just give him Dan James and 20 million, as though we're going to go, oh, yeah, we'll take that. It's like, you guys were right, give him whoever and 20 million, you know, Matic and 20 million. Yeah, of course. Yeah, nice one, mate. You know, they're idiots.
I see that every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan, they say every day, don't they? They say, we'll give you, like, I don't know, Phil Jones, 40 mil plus Lingard. I'm like, Rafinha to you is what Rice is to us. He's our prized asset. You know, I know we've got a few kicking around now, Souček obviously, and a couple others, but the problem when you've got a player like that is we have to really get European football, because if we get European football, we secure it. We get Declan for another year, because I think he is committed to the club, but you have to make him the highest earner. That's the first thing. He's not. Secondly, you've got to go and get the football that's going to keep him there. And it is tough. I suppose that's why people want to emulate a Leicester model, because you can build and improve. And we were in for Fofana. Clearly, obviously, we don't have a lot of money for whatever reason. We didn't go and get him. Again, another missed opportunity. But we feel the same, mate, with Declan. It's like you've got a player there that can go to the highest level. It's just a question of when and how long can you keep hold of him.
Is it me, mate? Yeah.
Well, either of you.
I think, I don't know what you think, Joe. Do you think if Bielsa's substantially back this summer, you can even mount a push for Europe in the next few seasons, and then it convinces Rafinha to stay on the model that you're building? Because you're playing a lot of positive football this season. You've not just come to fill up the numbers, you've come to compete, and that's been evident. So do you think Rafinha, not only from Ellen Road and that being packed as that a selling point, but also by the Leeds model, do you think he'll be convinced by that?
Yeah, definitely, mate. I think we're linked with Rodrigo de Paul.
He's a good player.
Yeah, he's an exceptional talent. Look, he's been linked with some top clubs, Liverpool, Inter Milan, Juve. But by all accounts, I dare say it, but he's apparently sold on Leeds. Obviously, Bielsa's a massive selling point. When Leeds United go get players, we got Robin Koch for 13 million, a German international. That'll end up being an absolute steal, and he could go very, very far. We've not seen a lot of him, but what happens is the stories that come out afterwards, they sent footage of their game alongside Leeds United's game and how they would match into the squad. And as a player, listen, I'm not a professional footballer, but I can imagine watching that and reading the articles when the lads speak about it. It's like, wow, this club really, really want me, And I think maybe Rodrigo de Paul being Argentinian as well and Bielsa's a god out there, it's he's bought into that. We're after a kid called Parade, a left back who's doing great numbers for Brest in France. We need a left back. And we've also been with Soumer, the guy at Lille. Who's, I guess, sort of cover for Calvin because we don't have adequate cover and he's at a decent age as well. So, to be honest, the players that we're being linked with, it's good things. And I think the money you get from the position that you finish, that's going to be crazy for Leeds United, not something we're used to. Obviously, the 49ers have increased their investment as well. So I expect a good window. We're looking at about 5 players by all accounts. So, and I do fully expect, for Leeds United, in the early parts of the season, there was all this talk about he needs to change his system, etc. It's not the system, it's the personnel, any other manager had, and I said this since day dot, any other manager that had this squad of players would have struggled to get promoted. But had they have got promoted, we'd be down there with Fulham, West Brom, scrapping for our lives because the quality of player, if I'm being totally honest, is nowhere close to some of the teams in the league. Nowhere close. But Bielsa has a way and has progressed these players, to levels they've probably never thought they could reach. Dallas is doing bits in the Premier League. Luke Ayling. He's got the most progressive passes or runs highest in Europe. This is Luke Ayling, who was released by Arsenal, who was at Yeovil, then went to Bristol City and came to Leeds for, $250,000, I think it was. And he's now doing bits in the Premier League. And this is what Bielsa gives you, man. So I fully expect, mate, with better personnel, that the sky's the limit. And I do think next year, as early as next year, we'll have a realistic chance of pushing for Europe. Why not? Wolves did. West Ham are up there now. Why not?
Yeah. No,
That's exactly the thing. When you look at that system, like every time I watch Leeds play, people say, "Oh, they're leaky or they're vulnerable." But some of it, to be fair, is mistakes. Like the technical ability of players. I think Dallas is a good player. Ayling's a good player, but I think you've brought in Llorente, Koch. You've got Phillips in there. Rodrigo's a huge miss in midfield. I think. I've seen Tyler Roberts playing in there. Not the same ability whatsoever. So, I don't think we've really ever seen a Bielsa side. And to be fair, with the clubs that he's gone to, he's never had a Manchester City or a Barcelona where he's had the pick of the players. But by the sounds of it, Leeds are going to invest in the summer. What is therefore the expectation going into next season? Because I know we haven't quite finished this one and you may finish top half, but do you think you should be pushing for Europe next season with the investment?
I do, mate, yeah. You know where my head's at, though.
Yeah, you love Europe. Don't we all, mate?
I'm expecting Europe this year, so. No, look, it's a plan, innit? It's a plan. We had a 5-year plan coming into the Premier League. He's ahead of that plan, and they'll have another plan, to go in. And it's all about, look, we've had an amazing first season, in the Premier League, and yeah, mid-table, I'd love 10th, give me 10th, that'd be amazing. But anyway, between 14th and 10th is a good season for a newly promoted side playing the ball that we do. We just push on from there. Of course, I wouldn't want us to see us regress. I think for Leeds United, and in my opinion, they're a huge club, we need to progress season on season. If we miss out on Europe next season, it'd be, the season after. I don't want to see us regress, and with Bielsa at the helm, we won't. And I think realistically, there's a chance of it, man. There's a chance of it next season, 100%.
I mean, look, Dan, it's been done before, mate, isn't it? Wolves have come up, and obviously they've got their super agent, but it's a tough old ask. It is a tough ask. But then I look at Leeds and I think if you're willing to invest that amount of money, you can catapult yourself up there. And the fact you are where you are this season, with respect to some of those players in there, it's nuts. Like, I've not seen that. I know we've been all right with our coaching. Craig Dawson's come on leaps and bounds, but Leeds have done a really good job, haven't they, mate?
No, they have, because I said it to my mates. I said the same as you, Joe. I don't think any other manager keeps that squad up, personally, that I can think of, because I think Bielsa's that good in terms of how he gets the best out of his players, like you said about Luke Ayling, like about Stuart Dallas, who, with all due respect, probably them two probably aren't Premier League quality or aren't top Premier League quality where Leeds want to go to. And yeah, no, they are doing really well. I think they'll have substantial backing. It's more that it would have been criminal for you, Joe, and my mates, if you came up this season, but if you went down this season because your fans couldn't have experienced the football and all that. So it's good that, you're staying up from personal point of view anyway. And, I think Bielsa is the man to lead you forward, because these signings like Robin Koch, they're not £45 million signings, but as we've discovered, Corey, you don't need to spend a lot to get a good player nowadays. You can find gems, you can unearth gems, and Bielsa, with his knowledge of Argentina and South America, we'll get a good player, and we'll get some good players to push Leeds forward.
Do you know what as well? There's so much in the fans, because I know people might laugh, but I think there's a few games this season where Leeds United would have won had the fans been in the ground. I do believe that. There was the City game, which was one apiece. I think we'd have dragged that ball into the net. Edison had a bit of a barnstormer that day. There's the Arsenal 0-0 at Ellen Road, which we absolutely spanked them. When you've got a group of fans in Ellen Road, it's so close to the pitch, them old school grounds. And I think some of the Premier League players won't have experienced it, what they'll experience at Ellen Road. Just from a personal standpoint, I don't think anyway. And it'll be such a lift. And even for the players that haven't experienced it, Rafinha, for me, I look at him and he wants to win all the time, and he's so aggressive, but it's not a misplaced aggression. It's a will to win. And I think when fans, there'll be a chant created for him 100%. There always is for your key players. We haven't had the opportunity to do that yet, but when he's on song, he'll want to play up to that. Like you've seen when I'm assuming you've seen it when he absolutely sent Gary Cahill for a hot dog. If that happens in a jam-packed Ellen Road, the noise is unbelievable. As a player, that's just going to make him go boom. He's going to feel so tall and be like, "Give me that ball," because he's getting it again. And I can't wait for it, man. You're so right, Dan. Because if we'd have gone straight back down, like,
I think, wouldn't it?
Yeah, our last game of the season's West Brom. And obviously, there's an opportunity that we'll get in. I think they're on about pushing the 2 games back, aren't they? So that everyone gets a game. So because obviously, had West Brom not had a game, their first game with fans in would have been us and then getting relegated on the last day. So,
We so Pete.
Yeah,
5-0
Leeds. The mad thing is, it's been 16 years long wait, and the first game back at Ellen Road is bloody West Brom, which is gutting. To be fair,
it's the same with us, mate. I think everyone talks about West Ham have done well this season without the fans. The reality is there's players in that I think are proper West Ham players. Soufal, Soucek, like Antonio, the fans love him because of the shift. Declan Rice, like it's so good when you've literally got a team, and I think that's what you get with Leeds as well. A team that the manager identifies with and the fans identify with, and then it's just a bit of a cauldron. And there's no doubt sometimes this season, I think if West Ham had fans in there as well, it would have been a massive boost. It's all right in the cagey Burnley West Brom games, but Spurs, Man City's, especially when we got that equaliser, Dan, if the fans are in there, who knows?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't know what happened then, by the way. It's the thing that annoys me is the lazy viewpoint. I'm a journalist myself, so I know this, but it's lazy in terms of when they say, "Oh, West Ham are doing well because fans aren't on the back." You know what I mean? It's a very. I don't understand that logic. You know what I mean? But obviously fans lift you, and West Ham and Leeds fans are very, very passionate, very vocal. Two of the best fans in the country for me. So, imagine if we were there this season. I know it would have been unreal, wouldn't it? But
We've got Champions League next season anyway, so
exactly.
it'll be even better.
Yeah, make up for it, won't it?
Yeah, God. I mean, so before I let you go, with the Bielsa thing, his contract, I always feel like Bielsa's always sort of one step away from leaving. But do you feel like this time, I think, isn't it that he's been there probably the longest that he's been at any other club? Or is that the stat that's kicking around?
Yeah, no, he has. This is the longest he's spent at any club, even longer than his hometown. He's Newell's old boys. Yeah, I think he's really bought into it. There's apparently his wife's over here now, all the way from Argentina. They're looking at a house, and because he does
better than that flat.
Yeah, he lives above a sweet shop in Wetherby. To be fair, so yeah, he's here, man. And look, there will be a time when he comes. I know the contract thing is a bit of an issue. Like he's very. I don't know if it's his principles, whatever. He won't discuss it while the season's ongoing because he's like anything could happen. So I've asked the club, we'll sort it, come the summer. But a lot of it's due to the fact as well is that he's been let down in the past. Like he's had to go to court for his time at I think it was at Lille, I'm not sure, but and Lazio, he was only there a couple of days because he was promised some players. So I think a lot of it's to do with the fact to ensure that the management team above him are giving him what they said they would, because he doesn't suffer fools. If for at any moment he's not getting what he wants and he's been promised it, he'll be on his way. And that's fair play to him, man. Fair play to him, because too many managers, I guess, stay in jobs just for the pay packet when they know the time's up, really, and they're not getting what they want, whereas he's got, very high principles, and if they're not giving him what he wants, he'll be on his way. But I just dread the day that he does go. But hopefully, we'll have built a decent enough squad there for the next man to come in and be able to maintain. There might be that bedding in process, I guess, for the players and us as fans as well, is that, like, I can watch a game of football now, Corey, and it's boring, mate. It's so boring and it's so hard to watch other teams because Leeds United is so entertaining. Apart from, the Villa game was brutal, but that's much down to Villa. But yeah, it's so hard to watch some of the football games now. So when the next man comes in, he's got a tough act to follow. But I just don't want that time to come, if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah, some of the football, the fact that he obviously got you up after 16 years and all the turmoil and stuff and playing, it's brave. Like, I've done the predicted 11 and some of the analysis, really brave style of football from Bielsa. And I think when you get a couple of players next season, hope don't leapfrog West Ham at all and we're still kicking around up there. But yeah, you're going to be a force to be reckoned with. But score prediction, Joe, for Monday evening, we've got a while to wait.
Oh, mate, do you know what it is?
I hate it, man.
Do you know, I'm normally really confident, but it's that London thing, man. It's that London thing. I don't know what it is. We just do not do well in London. I don't think we've won there since 2017, and that was Kamaroof against QPR. And obviously, there's a lot of London clubs in the Championship. For those that don't know, I'm assuming you do. But there is a load of London clubs down there in the Championship as well. So we just don't have a great record down there, mate. And and West Ham are flying this season. They're doing great. They're going to be so difficult for us to break down. But I'm going to go, I take a draw, but I'm going to go 2-1 Leeds.
Back his boys.
Yeah, 2-1 Leeds. We've got to break the record eventually, haven't we? It can't go on forever,
Against Fulham.
Yeah, probably, mate, yeah.
Watch it up.
You.
Yeah, exactly. 2-1. Dan, what do you think's going to happen on Monday night, mate?
I think there's a goal in it for Leeds.
I agree. I think there's a goal.
But we always find a way to win at the moment. Even when we're not playing well, we find a way to drag out a result. So I think going from that, I think we will beat them. But I think it'll be very close. I don't think it'll be a rollover by any means. I'm going 2-1.
Okay. I'm going 3-1. I've already gone in there. I just feel like if we play like we did last time, we take our chances, and we've got Lingard in there now, Mickey, Antonio, because we were crying out for Mickey against Leeds last time, and just feel.
we were,
But you will get a goal. Like I know you, because you're absolutely relentless. Like it'll be the 90th minute, and you'll still be plying men forward, and Dallas flying down, and I think inevitably you'll get a goal. But if it's a nice, comfortable, relaxed evening for me, that'd be absolutely
It's the
lovely.
first goal. If you're a West Ham fan,
Yeah.
if Leeds get the first goal, then there's a game in it. If you get the first goal as a Leeds fan, I'm probably thinking, fuck, we're done. I mean, we have come back from 1-0 deficits. We came back from 1-0 deficit against Leicester, but West Ham adopt a style of play that once you're in front, it's going to be so hard for this Leeds United side to break them down. Maybe next season when we have a Rodrigo, De Paul, etc. person, a moment of magic, then it's different. But this season, it's just so hard for us to break them down. So yeah, the first goal for me is always important for Leeds, but hopefully we get it, and then West Ham have to come out and we can catch them on counter. So yeah.
That would be the worry. Like I remember when we played Tottenham, and we could have easily sat in a low block, but we were committing men forward and we were pressing. We were getting caught out. It wasn't easy. Like we were just taking risks. So if you get that goal, then inevitably it will start to open up. And I really do not want it to open up on that left hand side with Rafinha, because and Jack Harrison on the left. It will cause me nightmares. But Joe, thank you so much, mate, for coming on. Let everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah, at All Leeds TV, we'll be doing. We do loads, to be fair. Tomorrow's Before the Whistle Blows, so Corey will be on that, where we look ahead to the weekend's games. We'll have our opposition preview Saturday night, which Corey's coming on with another West Ham fan. I forgot his name now; the names escape me. Sunday we have our big match preview, and then obviously Monday night we have loads of match day content, lineups, live post-match player ratings, etc. It's a good place to come if West Ham are beating us, to be fair, because we'll be salty as fuck. We got hammered by the Villa fans. We got absolutely hammered, but it comes with the territory, doesn't it?
Yeah, come over tomorrow, everyone. Friday night.
Yeah, do,
before the whistle blows. That honestly, I love that show. It's so fun.
It's good, isn't it?
It's lovely. Dan, thanks so much for coming on, mate. We'll be back again, won't we? Of course, we're doing our player ratings as well after the game. So fingers crossed, it's not a loss, and we're just sitting there moping around, because I was feeling relatively positive last time. I was just trial running it, so fingers crossed we get a win. But everyone, thanks so much for joining me. Like the stream, subscribe to the West Ham Way if you're new, and until next time, take care.